happening, people? What's good? This is your Asati out here in Singapore. Hmm. You are listening to the Night Owl podcast. I'm so glad you could join me, and I want to talk about a couple things today because, as always, I am trying to keep you informed on what I'm trying, what I'm doing, how my entrepreneurship journey is going, the craziness that I see every day, the kinds of conversations I be having, the things that occur to me, epiphanies, all that. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the fact that I finally, I've been talking about meditations forever, finally did another meditation live yesterday. And I gotta say, I was not pleased because for some reason, when I did the meditation, you could hear every breath I took and every time I closed or opened my mouth, like all that lip smacking noise, like, ugh, I was not happy. Luckily, I did it in a private group of mine and I didn't have any complaints on that side, but listening to the replay, I wasn't pleased. Okay. I was not pleased. So I'm going to redo it. But the point being that I committed to dropping 100 meditations this year, and I want to go ahead and fulfill that because I think it's really important. And I think it's another aspect of who I am and what I do that really is effective. And I wanted to go ahead and do that. The other thing I've been doing is, me procrastinating as always. It's one of those things. Every time something changes in my schedule, it takes me a little bit of time to kind of adjust and like refocus and make sure that I get everything done that I need to do. So it's almost like I got to start from scratch. I got to procrastinate through it. I got to figure out where all the pockets of time are, and then I got to start jam packing all over again. So that's basically where I'm at the moment. So honestly speaking, I'm not where I should be, but I'm getting there. I'm noticing. I'm paying more attention. I'm creating the awareness so I know exactly what I need to be taking care of. Um, Outside of that, though, I have found that I'm quite committed to a lot of different projects. So, supporting group of DJs, obviously, Empire Artists is first and foremost in my mind. Got shoot schedules coming up. What else? This meditation thing, making sure that I have my clients are taken care of. I just newly elected to as chairperson of the executive committee for the parent volunteers at the school. So that's going on as well. And I'm actually really excited about that because it means I get to be more involved in baby girls school. Plus they got a 20-year reunion thing going on this year. Not a reunion, sorry, 20-year anniversary of the school being opened. And I get to be in charge of planning that celebration. Wow, right? Anyway, with all this stuff going on, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my story. Obviously, y'all have heard, well, I'm hoping y'all have heard, on IGTV, Rasatwan, the account, I put up my last IGTV video, and it was about the 3 things I loved about myself. And the one thing I wanted to talk about was, well, the first thing on that list was my story. I love everything about my story. And honestly, I use every aspect of my story all the time. It's gotten to a point where now that I know what skills I had and what skills I've picked up and where I've picked them up, like which job, requirements I had at some point that taught me a new skill set that I've had to, stretch a little bit and grow a little bit. I've used all of that. I know that all of my marketing skills come from Kingsmill and then also from Wyndham Worldwide. And then all of my sales skills comes from working with Wyndham Worldwide and also a little bit of Lumber Liquidators. I know all of my, data analyst skills, my shipping, handling, freight forwarding, logistics, planning, warehouse, like all of that comes from Lumber Liquidators. I also know that all my curriculum planning comes from Scholars Inc. and from, oh gosh, what is that? IQ Kids. And also from Kindle Kids International. I know that all of my funnel work stuff came from Scholars Inc. And let's see, a lot of marketing here in Singapore, just a lot of I've picked up a lot of skill sets from all over, right? And this is what I always tell my friends, my family, my clients. If you're looking for a new job, look for that next skill set you really want to develop and find a job there so you can learn for free. Basically, on the job training is better than any course you could ever take because you really have to troubleshoot on the spot when things happen or things go wrong, you miss a piece of data. So that's the best way to learn any of those skills. So like I said, I use every aspect of my story, even all of my mistakes, all of my really big traumas that I've had to deal with growing up. When I teach people about separation anxiety, from abandonment issues, from dealing with their parents, all of those things, it comes from a place where I've had to deal with those things myself. And sometimes I'm still dealing with them. Like I've told you many times before, all of these lessons come in like a spiral type of trajectory. I don't know if you want to call it a trajectory, but basically you start with the basic idea that someone's going to leave you, what can you do about it? And then eventually as you deal with that and you're not so afraid of losing people all the time. You open up and start actually making friends and things. When they do leave, you deal with, okay, well, what part of that was really so painful for me? How do I make sure I bridge that gap? How do I make sure that, I still stay open to these new experiences, but I protect myself from getting hurt all the time? How can you love with your whole heart and still protect yourself from the fear that comes with having lost that love, or feeling like you don't deserve that love, feeling like that love may have been betrayed, like any of those things? Those are like revisiting that same area of the lesson, but it's like a deeper layer, like a 101 level versus 201, 301 levels, like college courses, right? So like I said, I deal with all these things. I'm not completely healed yet. Obviously, if I had been completely healed, I'd be like Sami level at the moment, but I'm not. I'm getting there. Hey, Govan, so happy to hear your voice this morning. But like I said, I own every piece of my story. I love every aspect of it. If I had changed anything, if I, people go through these phases where they want to change something about their past so that they think that it would put them in a different position. But what is the point of that, really? You can't go back and change it. You might as well own it. And plus, if that particular aspect, if that particular event, if that particular encounter had changed, I wouldn't be who I am right now. I'd be somewhere else. I'd be doing something else. I'd probably be talking about completely different things. But the fact that I no longer speak about people, I no longer gossip and play games and pretend that I'm someone that I'm not, I'm happy being myself. I'm happy talking about big ideas and spirituality and like really like existential level stuff, means that I've healed a couple of things. I've in Tamil சொல்லுவாங்க what நாலு பேருக்கு தெரிஞ்சு, like நாலு விஷயம் தெரிஞ்சு, like you kind of have learned a couple things. You've grown a little bit. There's a wisdom there, right? So I own every part of my life. I had a friend come over yesterday and we happened to watch a movie that was comprised of 4 different stories. They were kind of interconnected, not really, but it was really 4 different stories that you got to witness. And it was in different phases of the person's life. It was in the phase of, young child puppy love. It was elderly love, like after you've lived most of your life, you've had a really great relationship or a great marriage, or maybe you never got married at all and you still have time to find love in your twilight years. It's about a married couple that get stuck in all the details of, everyday life and running around with the kids, and they forget that they are also people. They need to still date each other and take care of each other that way. And there was also another aspect of in the difficulties in life. One person was found out that they had cancer, and they had met a brand new somebody, and they fell in love that way because they supported each other through that. They got used to seeing each other every day and really taking care of each other. So the different aspects of love in the different levels of your life, and how there is still hope. There are still people out there that are willing to go the extra mile, show you that they care, be there for you in any capacity that they can, really was meaningful to me. And she was kind of surprised because, I mean, she doesn't know that I'm a crybaby. I will fall apart and cry at movies like all the time. And it's one of those things because I like that I get to feel very deeply. Sometimes when something major happens to you, you don't have an opportunity to cry. Like, for instance, when my grandparents passed away, each of them, I didn't really cry. I was busy being strong for everybody else. I didn't have a chance to really, break down and feel all those emotions because my mom needed me to be strong. My cousins needed me to be strong. I needed to handle details for the funeral arrangements and stuff. I needed to just, I needed to be the rock. And even though in quiet moments, sometimes I get to shed 1 or 2 tears, it wasn't like that full out ugly crying that I needed to kind of just let go a little bit. And yesterday I did a little bit. The reason being that I could identify with some of those characters in some of those moments. There were moments in there where, somebody found out that the young man that had found out he had cancer, and he was freaking out because the woman that he was supposed to marry suddenly was like, no longer interested. It was an arranged marriage. So it wasn't a love thing, but even then it was kind of hurtful and painful for him. And he happened to meet someone randomly in a shared vehicle. They're going to work on the same route every day or whatever. And she started to take notice and started to pay attention, and she did the legwork. She made sure that she asked about him and she cared a little bit, and slowly it helped him open up, because a lot of us who are holding on to some of this pain, this anger, this grief that we've had to endure, we need someone to show us that it's okay to open up, that it's okay to to rest your shoulders a little bit, to smile a little bit more, to breathe a little bit easier. It's okay to open up to the world again, because with that pain comes this need to shelter yourself. I don't want to feel that stuff anymore. I don't want anyone to get so close to me anymore, because if that can affect me like this, like, I'm not prepared to lose anyone ever again. And that hit me really hard. No, I have not been through cancer, but I have had a cancer scare. When I was 23, I found a lump, and I had to have the lump removed because I was not about to die 1,000 deaths and have it biopsied every 6 months. I don't want that kind of drama. You take it out, you find out what it is, and if it's nothing, great. And if it's something, we deal with it then. But I'm one of those people that I need to know the concrete facts so I know what to do next. And so I felt it when he was, going through that. Oh my gosh, what does this mean? Can it be fixed? Can it be cured? Can it be cut out of me and it's going to be okay? Luckily for me, there was nothing wrong. The lump turned out to be nothing at all, but I was still freaking out. It was a lump in my breast. I was afraid that there would be a noticeable divot in my breast. I was afraid that it would change the capacity for me to have children and possibly breastfeed. Like, I was freaking out, like, on a different level, because I didn't know what it meant. There were too many variables, there were too many unknowns, and I was freaking out a little bit. So when I listened to this story, it made me realize, how lucky was I that it was nothing. And even then, it was something that I could take, because it was painful. I was able to cut it out and it was fine. And since then, I have had the privilege of bearing a child and breastfeeding and being able to function as a normal human being with no problems. Like, all of those fears were like massive in my brain, but now that I've, lived a little bit, it's not so bad, and I'm okay with that. There was another aspect in one of the stories where the young boy, the very first story, was basically sitting on a garbage heap, and every day he picks through the garbage to see what he can sell and what he can salvage, and he is grateful for the little things that we always throw out. There was a young girl that asked him, hey, if you come across a shampoo bottle, if there's a little bit in there, just take it for me, because I'll just mix it with a little bit more water and it will at least leave my hair smelling nice for a while. I don't have to worry about it. It will be nice. We can still look like we have a little bit, and we can enjoy the little things. But the point being that these kids that are digging through this trash, they are so happy with the slightest things. They're so happy. They have nothing and they're so happy. They find a way to be happy every day. And I kind of feel badly because there's so many things we take for granted. If you look at my countertop, I don't know how many jars and bottles and crap on my table that I barely use, or I've used once, and I don't know how much money I would have spent on those things. And imagine if I didn't feel the need to buy all these things and I kept it for something else instead. I maybe might have a savings. I maybe might be able to do like a little bit more with my life. But my daughter and I are working on being happy with the little things in life, being satisfied with less than everyone else is claiming that they really need in order to have this great, luxurious life. We play a lot more. We laugh a lot more, and that's important to me. So it touched my heart, and I shed a little bit of a tear, because you forget sometimes how bad some people have it. You forget sometimes how lucky we really are. As much as we complain about how expensive Singapore is, honestly, for $20, I can cook you a great set of meals for an entire week. And it will be mostly vegetables, which is what you need anyway, and maybe one big meat dish that you can mix into everything. And guess what? Your body will have everything it needs to replenish itself and to heal itself and to really help you grow. And it won't be a lot of stuff that's from cans. And I feel good about that. I feel really good about that, being able to provide that for my daughter. Another part from another story was the fact that, this young lady has had this one great love in her life, and he decided he didn't want her, and he went off and he married somebody else. But she felt like, to be loyal to that love that she felt, to honor the promise that she had made to him once upon a time, she decided she wasn't going to get married at all, and she stayed single. And it wasn't until her twilight years that she happened to meet this gentleman at the hospital, of all things. Both of them went for a checkup, and she really connected with him, and she felt so light in her heart, and she felt hope once again that maybe she could find love before, the end of her life. And it made me really fall apart a little bit, because the way that this man took care of her, that he noticed everything about her, that he was so excited about the little things, makes me wonder if I'll ever find that. I really wish that there was a chance that I would had to feel some of those things, because some of the greatest moments in my life, there was no one to really appreciate it with me, to witness it with me, to be excited about it with me. Getting pregnant is a big deal, is a major deal. There's so many people out there that can't have children. And the one thing I wanted in my life, the only aspiration I had in my entire life, was to be a mom. And the fact that I might have been mom to 4 kids, 4 boys and a girl, makes me sad because I didn't get a chance to bear all of them. And the fact that my husband was never happy about me being pregnant, the fact that I bore that child by myself all 10 months without any help makes me sad sometimes. I'm look, bottom line, I'm proud. Baby girl is here. She's healthy. I'm taking care of her. I got this, you know? But it would have been nice to share some of those moments with him. It would have been nice that, you know, whenever you can. She used to get the hiccups all the time when I was pregnant, and you can see it through my belly. And it was funny because it looked like bubbles in my stomach. And it would have been nice to be able to share something like that with somebody who was excited to hear about it, who was looking forward to all the doctor's appointments, who wanted to be there for all of these things. And it makes me sad. And I hope one day maybe somebody will be there for me too. But I'm not holding my breath. I'm not, waiting until that happens. I'm going to live my life either way. But it does bring a tear to my eye. You can hear it in my voice right now because that is something I do want. Asapadran. But it's okay. I'm all right. I will make it either way. So when you listen to all of these stories, when you hear the clients and their pain and the things that they go to, I have no choice. It is almost like a involuntary reflex that I do tear up and I do choke up and I feel everything that they're going through. And I can't say that I know exactly what they're going through, but I know that emotion. I know that feeling. I've been there before. So that anger you feel when something doesn't go right and you can't believe that somebody has the nerve to treat you a certain way, I feel that. I've been there before. When you feel a loss and you don't know how to handle it and you feel this extra space everywhere you go suddenly because that person is missing, I feel that. I feel that very deeply. So I use every aspect of my story. I am not ashamed of anything in my story because of this incredible life that I've lived. I have never met a stranger. There isn't anyone I can't just invite into my home and give them a hug and help them feel safe and secure for half an hour at least. And I'm proud of that. It's because I've lived a little bit that I can do these things, and I feel really good about that. And so I encourage you, at some point, go back and look at the scope of your life, the things that you've seen, the things that you've experienced. And no, not all of them are pleasant, and they're not meant to be. Because without the bad, you don't understand the good. You don't appreciate the good. Without that contrast, you don't know what it could be like if you did have those things, or you don't understand what it's like when you don't have those things. You need the contrast. You need the trauma in order for you to progress in this life and really be as human as possible. And more than anything, I want you to be human. I don't want you to turn into some crazy, robot or anything. I want you to be human. I want you to be happy. And if you need help, if you need someone to hold your hand, if you need a shoulder to lean on, if you need a cup of coffee and a safe space to sit, call me. I'll be there. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.